We are back! Yes, with some more Train Simulator Classic. Okay, so, an interesting one, this one. This is a return trip from a recent video by Luke Hoser. He did Portsmouth Harbour to London Waterloo, and we were discussing it, and I said, I'll tell you what, I'll do the return trip. However, yes, I wanted to do it in the trains that I remembered back from the late 80s, early 90s. I used to get the train a lot every day to school and back, and it was always the Waterloo to Portsmouth line I used to get. Obviously not the entire run. But the consist of this was normally a mixture. It was a commuter time train, and it was normally 12 coaches, and it used to have a mixture of 4 class 421s or 422s or 423s at the front in either Network Southeast or BR Blue Grey. Then it had the 412 in the middle, 4 of those with a buffet section, which were nearly always Network Southeast livery. And at the back it would have either 421, 422, 423. Now, I tried earlier to make this consist in here, which I managed to make. However, there was some problems with it when I started to drive the thing. I would get a crash to desktop. So I tried 4 or 5 times. I was tweaking the consist around, and I didn't get anywhere. So in the end, I gave up. So this is actually probably my 6th attempt at this. So what we are on a commuter line. This is 6 o'clock out of Waterloo. We've got a 12 car, but it's all to the sort of best implementation of this family, which is the Armstrong Powerhouse Class 412. And we've got a Network Southeast livery. Okay, so this is about the best chance I've got of the game not crashing to desktop. And although I have the 421 and the 423, this one drives very similar, but it's a much better implementation because it's the Armstrong Powerhouse one. Obviously, Armstrong Powerhouse release a enhancement pack for the 421, 2223, then I'll be getting that. But for now, we will use this so the game is stable. Okay, right. Let's get this underway. Okay, here we are. Let's have a look. We are at the extreme end of the platform. In fact, we're under the light, so it's gone red. Let's let everybody on. This is our train. 12 coaches. Let's go. We've got buffet section. Probably got more than one buffet section. Oh, what's that? A mirror showing us a class 444. Yeah, we've got multiple buffet sections here. But this is the quick drive consist. Okay, so I'm letting people on. So we've got some doors open there. Let's just set up the train very quickly. You need to do the number, the head code number. Oh, and we're ready to go. Oh, we just have to wait. Oh, come on. Right, so we'll do a sort of correct number, which will be 81. Too far there. There we go. Oop. Okay, and we'll get some cab lights on, and we'll get the headlight on as well, which is the which is there, which is the head code. It's behind the head code and it's there. Okay, so I think the head code light is on. Let's just check. Put warmer, demister, instrument lights. Oh, we put them on because it is 6 o'clock at night. Head code light. Okay, so head code light is on. Right, excellent. Okay, we are in a 15-mile-an-hour zone. So let's. Is there a master key on this? I think there is. Oh, so I've managed to turn it off. Okay, so reverser is on. I think we're good to go. Reverser is on. It's set to forward. So let's do this. In fact, nothing's responding. It is working, so okay, it's only letting us go in reverse. Let's put some brakes on here. We don't end up reversing the thing. Okay, we are moving. That was interesting, wasn't it? Had to use the HUD and mess around with it a little bit, but at least we are on our way. So, this is a fast service. We will be stopping at Woking, Guildford, Godalming, Hazelmere, Petersfield, Havant, Fratton, Portsmouth and Southsea, and Portsmouth Harbour. And the journey, I reckon, will take about an hour and 25 minutes. And we've got a class 444 up there again. So yeah, with the other trains, I got to just past this 50 zone and then the engine sound would disappear, or the motor sound, and then the game would crash to desktop. But it looks to me like it's all working as it should. So let's give it a notch. Let's just increase our speed a little bit. So yeah, I can hear that electric motor. It sounds very similar to the sound that the original Starship Enterprise made back in the Star Trek original series. It was the impulse engines. Okay, so we're just clearing this area, then that class 444 can actually go and park up. Right, we are in the 50-mile-an-hour zone. So we will be bypassing quite a few stations on the way to Woking. First of which is where I used to live, literally next door to the track, is Vauxhall. Here we go, just past, coming to Vauxhall Station. There's all the student accommodation buildings. I'll show you where my flat was. There's MI6. There's Vauxhall Station. That building doesn't exist like that. That looks like the lipstick building from... Right, so my flat would have been round about here. I mean, it's right next to the track. It was flat like that. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, this looks like the lipstick building from Gunwharf Quays there, but it doesn't actually exist here. That's the American Embassy. That looks about right. Okay, so the next station is Queenstown Road, Battersea. We'll probably be avoiding that. Yeah, we are avoiding that, looking at this. So there's two sort of stations on the main lines that are Battersea. So you've got from between Clapham Junction and Victoria, you've got Battersea Park. And from Clapham Junction to Waterloo, you've got Queenstown Road, Battersea. Actually, further apart than you'd think. Clapham Junction itself is in Battersea, it's not actually in Clapham. Okay, well, we're on a 60 now. We'll be going to 50 very soon. And this is a train where you can't just go from notch 4 to notch 3 like that. It would accelerate the same rate. If you want to go down further, you have to go right down to 0 and then up like that. So, but you can increase it upwards, just not downwards without going to 0 first. Class 450 there. It's not using my paint reskins for some reason. We don't see many in that livery anymore. They're all the new white and grey South West Railway. Although I'm hoping to see Great British Railway soon. Okay, so we will apply a little bit of brakes as we approach the 50. And as soon as we go through platform 9 of Clapham Junction, we can head up to 75 mile an hour. And here we go. I mean, the express trains tend not to stop, well, not express, but the fast service tends not to stop at Clapham Junction, although it does at the weekends, but the main commuter ones don't. Okay, we should be going through platform 9 if this has any sort of realism to it. Or occasionally it could be platform 7 in real life. Let's have a look. Look, the frame rate is a bit reduced here. Platform 9, there we go. as we go through without stopping at all. Let's have a quick look. That's Clapham Junction. It's very intensive on the CPU, this one, or the GPU. And I don't know what that sound was. It was in game because it came out of my earphones. Okay, another 412. Right, we can start accelerating up now. Right, the next station we will be going through is Earlsfield. And after that should be New Malden. So I used to get this train on a daily and then a weekly basis. Even recently, until I got my car. I didn't have a car for quite a few years because the cam belt went on it and wrote the engine off, and it was more expensive. Well, it was more expensive to fix it than to buy a new car. So I didn't have a car for a few years. And whenever I was travelling down to Portsmouth to visit the family, I would jump on the train. Unfortunately, it wasn't one of these. It was normally a class 450 or a 444. But I did go once on a 442 when they briefly re-entered service. But there was a problem with them and the signals, so they were hastily withdrawn again by South Western Railway. Right, there's Earlsfield. Oh yeah, it's Wimbledon next, actually, not New Malden. I should have remembered that. There's the Wimbledon train maintenance depot on our right there. Some classic BR blue slam door. Gotta love those. I mean, they were iconic right from the late 50s up until the mid 90s. They were in constant use. I really don't know what is up on that ramp. It seems to go up. It's just a platform or something there. And then back down again, so I really don't know what it's trying to achieve. Okay, so we're about to go through Wimbledon. Many people on the platform there. Doesn't look like it. There's the Centre Court Shopping Centre. Yeah, so we are almost like we're in a time rip. So we're seeing a combination of 444s, 450s and 411s and 412s on this journey. Yeah, so anyway, I was meant to do this about a week ago, but I was very busy. Yeah, I was watching the Melania film on constant repeat. No, obviously I wasn't. I was doing. Had something far less excruciating, which was a massive dental problem that ended up with me being in A&E and then having surgery to get a tooth removed, all the while being in constant agony. However, it was still better than watching the Melania movie, so that's all I can say about that, really. Right, was that one New Malden? Or was it... no, that would be... Oh, my brain's gone blank. I think it begins with R. Yeah, my brain's gone blank for that one. Yeah, I haven't done this route in real life for too long. Now we're still in a 75. However, by the time we get to the 80 mile an hour, we should be almost there anyway. Now this is New Malden. You can tell by that big building there, which is actually modelled on the real thing. You know, I am going to have to take this down. Okay, so we are entering the 80 mile an hour zone. So this train will comfortably do 90, although the acceleration does dwindle a bit once you get over 70, but it will do 90. There's only a short piece of track around the Woking area that is 100, but it's so short that you can't really get to it. Even if you're in a bullet train, you probably wouldn't get to 100 in the short space of time. So I think the maximum speed we will achieve on this journey is 90. And with remarkable timing, there it is, 90. Okay, that station, I didn't see the name, but I'm assuming it is Berrylands. Bit of a blink and you miss it. Oh Christ, and I'm speeding. Blink and you miss it station, that one. Yeah, I was too busy trying to remember the station name. But yeah, that was Berrylands that I sped through. I think the next station, I don't know if we're avoiding it, but it should be Surbiton. Which could be this one. Let's have a look. Let's take the speed off a second. That looks like Surbiton to me. Okay, now this is where shortly we will see a branch. Okay, so one way goes to Guildford via Woking and the other way goes to Guildford via Cobham and Stoke Davenham. And you'd normally get a slower train going through there that stops at most of the stations. But occasionally these fast services will go that way, so for the commuter that doesn't really care, it's the same as the normal route, but it just doesn't stop at Woking because it doesn't go through it. And the scenery is slightly different, and you get to see Chelsea's training ground, a place they need to spend more fucking time than they are at the moment. Right, so we're in a 90. There we go. There goes the branch. So that will go Clarendon, London Road, and Cobham, Stoke, Davenham. Which unfortunately is not included on this DLC. Then soon you'll see it rejoin us. Right, this station, it should be Esher. And there you see Sandown Racecourse. But all the multiple times I've caught this train, I've never seen a race going on there. And I've done it evenings, afternoons, mornings, weekends. Never seen a single horse. In fact, I've probably inadvertently eaten more horses than I've seen running around Sandown from the train. Because I did like a Findus lasagna. That was 444. I'll be very surprised if we see anything other than 444, 415, 412s or 411s. Right, this is Hersham we're going through. Again, a bit of a blink and you miss it station. So you see we're on notch 4 and we're struggling to get to 90. We will get there. I'm going to put it down to notch 3. We're on a fairly flat piece of track at the moment. Right, let's get up to 90. And then we'll put it down to notch 3. Right, this station is Walton-on-Thames, I believe. The stations on this part of the route between Waterloo and Woking are fairly insignificant and small. Not really many characteristic or defining features about them. Now let's get ourselves up to 90. We're nearly there. So that was Walton-on-Thames, and I haven't missed one. The next station should be Weybridge. And we're at 90. There we go. Another class 412. I think this is Weybridge. It looks like it. Does look like it. The FPS isn't great here, so I think we're doing about 20 frames per second at best. And this is after yet another reboot. So our next station that we will avoid will be good question. Byfleet and New Hall, I think. So I know West Byfleet's coming up, but Byfleet and New Hall we should go through first, which we are, which is just here. We've got Byfleet and New Hall. It's very hard to read with the FPS, but we are on the avoiding line. Just realised I could press the little globe there and we could stop still. But yeah, West Byfleet is coming up, and then the next station after that we will be stopping at, that is Woking. I think Woking means we're in Surrey. It's very hard to tell because they keep moving, they keep extending the Greater London boundary, don't they? Okay, yeah, this is West Byfleet. Let's just try that out. West Byfleet, there we go. So yeah, apart from... Oh, and I've just remembered the station I couldn't identify. The one before we got to New Malden, that it would have been Rains Park. So yeah, eventually got there, naming the station, so I think we're doing all right. I'm more pissed off about that speeding. I was hoping to be able to do a clean run. Anyone who watches my videos knows full well that I very rarely get a clean sheet. And if I drive it perfectly, I get bloody buggered by a invisible speed limit change. Right, let's start braking for Woking. We don't need to brake that hard, we'll adjust it early on. Yeah, I know, red light because we are stopping. And we'll be changing points to get onto the correct platform. Okay, so we're all good for traffic signals ahead. We will be coming around this junction point here. And here we are at the platform. So we are running 12 coaches, so we'll try and stop at the right place. By the 12 coach marker. Okay, yeah, I know we do have a junction ahead where we will go straight on. That will take us to Southampton, Basingstoke, that way, or we will veer to the left, which will take us to Portsmouth. Right, okay. I can't see the 12 coach marker, so we will stop just here. Right, let's get some doors slamming away. As we are at Woking. Oh, listen to that sound. You gotta love it. And we're off. So we are in a 90, but we will be in a 60 as we go left at this junction. And then 40. So there's no point in us accelerating higher than 40, is there really? Then we can put full throttle on once we get into the 90 zone. Oh, we're starting to get some dead insects on the windscreen here, so we will fix that in a second. Once we've done a bit of speed control. So, yep, at these points we are going left. Otherwise we will end up in Basingstoke. I remember when we used to commute back, we used to get this 6 o'clock train. We used to affectionately call this the Woking Wobble because the train did lurch a bit when we went round it. Okay, we are in a 90 now. Right, let's do these wipers now. I don't know the keyboard shortcut for the wipers. And there it is. Right, let's see if we can get a trackside view while we accelerate. Okay, the next station we see there is Worplesdon. However, very few trains stop there. Just the real stop at every blade of grass trains. I don't know we're going to get much of a trackside view. Yeah. We're getting a drone view instead. Okay, just about half a mile to go, then we'll go through Worplesdon without a second thought. Here we go, you can see it's just plonked in the middle of nowhere, this station. Oh, hello. So it's just in the middle of nowhere. Oh, these, and I like these air vents on the top, that's what I think they are. Once we get through Guildford and we can start accelerating back up to 90, we'll have a little look at the interior views. Where this is an Armstrong powerhouse train, we do get the interior views. But it won't be long before we're stopping at Guildford, so we'll do it after that. Between Guildford and Godalming. Now from Guildford, you've got 3 routes, I think, maybe 4. You can go obviously to Woking, then you can go to Cobham, Stoke, Davenham, and you can also go to Red Hill, so you can end up on the Brighton line. And here we are. let's start slowing down. The classic BR blue and grey. There we go, you can see to the left, there's our route to Cobham, Stoke, Davenham. The brake may be slightly too early. Right, well, as usual, we'll try and stop at the right place. So that's 3, 4, 5 and 6 coaches. So we will go right to the end. Yeah, I can see the 12 there. So we can get the whole train on. Are we going to do it? Well, that's about as close as we're going to get. Let's see. Here's Guildford. Okay, we've got the doors there, and let's have a look at the back. Oh, we got them all on. So this is the station itself. Pretty major station. I don't know any train apart from a freight that would go through it. Okay, I haven't heard anything from the guard, but we may have been in an external view when it happened. So what we'll do, we'll check the doors. Yeah, I think they're all shut. I think we're good to go, actually. There's a class 450 pulls in. Okay, so we are on a 25 limit until we hit 60 as we go through the tunnel. Drop it down for a few seconds. Okay, there we go. We are now in the 60. So we got 70, then 85. I think this is a good chance to look through the train. We can. Maybe it doesn't let us if we're in a tunnel, like a lot of the other views. Yeah, I don't think we're in any danger of speeding between 70 and 85. So these are the main standard passenger compartments. That lovely BR pattern on the chairs. Okay, so let's go to the next carriage. Remember these? The old first class booths? You had a little corridor, and you used to walk past the first class there. The windows need a bit of a clean. Well, we've got a 70-mile-an-hour coming up. We'll continue our tour in a minute. There's inside the first class. This is a first second. So if you could get a seat in there, it didn't cost you any extra. Right, let's go back to the standard view, because we do need to come off these brakes, come off the throttle and do some gentle braking as we go through Farncombe. We will not be stopping. Again, it's only the stopping service that will go through that. It's a fairly insignificant station. Go. Level crossing. And here we go. Here is Farncombe. And another level crossing. That's 2 roads blocked, isn't it? Whenever you get a train passing through or stopping there. Right, we have a 60 limit, but we're stopping at Godalming anyway. This is, yeah, our next stop. Come off the brakes a little bit there. There we go, Godalming. Let's try and get ourselves up to the end at the right spot, as usual. I think I crunched the brakes a bit too much there. So there are some stops on this route, even the fast trains. If you're right at the back in the 12 coach train, then you are not getting off. One of them is Fratton, I know that. Yeah. Oh, we didn't quite get it up right up to the 12, but I think that's good enough. Okay, here we are, Godalming. Yeah, look, we had quite a bit of room there to play with. So if we look at the back, yeah, only these 2 doors are unusable, but obviously with quick drive, it's the whole coach. But there's plenty of places to get off. I think we've missed the guard signal, so let's just get underway. So we're on a 60, we'll be going pretty much up to 75 straight away. So let's put that into notch 4. And our next station will be Hazelmere, so let's carry on our tour of the train. So we've done this coach, so this is the next one that we were working our way through. This is the corridor where the first class is. This is actually inside the first class, with those nice, luxurious, not at all threadbare seats and headrests. And there's the first second that we saw briefly. Well, let's go to the next coach. So inside here we've got an orange bulkhead, which means we're nearing the buffet section. Which is here. And as was often the case, except on the, one or two commuters, the buffet is shut. These are the nice sort of yellow plastic and wooden seating area where you'd sit and eat your delicious snack and have your coffee. Okay, so let's go to the last carriage, which is pretty much the same as the first one. Okay, the next station we will be hurtling through is Milford. Okay, again, a very small station that only the stopping service will go anywhere near. It seems to have quite a big car park for the size of the station. And the station after this should be Whitley, again another very small one, which we will be going straight through. Again, stopping services only. And there it is. I thought it was a WH for Whitley, but I could be wrong. I mean, this is quite an accurate DLC, so I doubt they'd get that spell wrong, but we'll have a look and we'll go through the station. But if it's wrong there, or whatever it is there, whether it's wrong or right, it'll be the same, I imagine, at the station itself. Okay, just approaching Whitley. Keeping an eye on our speed. We're alright at 77 at the moment. We are going on a 182 uphill, but then we'll shortly be going downhill. There we go, this is Whitley Station. Let's just have a little look here. Yeah, Whitley without a W. Still has that nice sort of British Rail red sign there, if you notice that. Right, we are going to be going uphill again to Hazelmere, and I may have mentioned on a previous video on this route, but Hazelmere has the high... Oh! Yeah, so I got interrupted by a phone call just as I got the speeding notification. So I've edited that out. So yeah, definitely not going to be a clean sheet, this one. So yeah, we are heading towards Hazelmere. This is pretty high above sea level, and as I said a minute ago, yeah, highest signal box above sea level in the UK. And yeah, we are losing some speed in this 1 in 80 climb. Now, I remember doing this run without the HUD, and yeah, this is where I Had no indication of where I was with regards to Hazelmere, because the speed limit doesn't reduce. And that's the only bit that really threw me. So I was braking way too early. Yeah, we certainly are going up a big hill, but you'll see it's very hilly when we get there. There we go, there's Hazelmere. So we're only doing 75, we don't even need to think about braking yet. And so, because there's no speed limit reductions around Hazelmere, there's no signs on the track, which is why I didn't really know where to start braking. Yes, I know, I've had a comment saying a real train driver knows exactly where he is at all times. Well, I'm not a real train driver. I don't do this route 6 times a day. I'm lucky to do it 6 times a year in this game. There we go, well, 85. That tells us nothing if we don't have a HUD. By the time you see this, it's a bit late if you're doing 90. Yeah, another 412 there. I do love the blue and grey livery on these trains. I mean, yeah, I also like the Network Southeast as well. Back in the day when I was a youngster, that was all I saw. It was sort of 50-50 of both. Right, we will try and stop at the right place and get the entire length of the train onto the platform. Okay, we've got one coach left to do. Come on, we can do it. I think that's good enough. Hazelmere. Okay, so none of the doors here have opened, despite the fact we are not past this. Let's check the rear of the train. Nothing, there doesn't appear to be any doors open. Let's just press T again and see what happens. Okay, so they've opened at the back, and they have opened at the front. Okay, so maybe I had to spam the T button. Okay, we have a guard signal. Okay, so our next station that we will be stopping at is Petersfield, or Cheatersfield as we used to call them, because our school used to play them at rugby. We do all have 2 stations that we'll be going through, which is Liphook and Liss. There's a nice spa in Liphook, or near Liphook, called Champneys. So if you want to go and pamper yourself or get rid of the missus for a day, then take her there. Right, so yeah, we are 85. I'm hoping we will be able to get to 90 before we start getting near Portsmouth. But it's not going to take... Oh, it is 90. Didn't see that. It's not going to take as long to get there because there's 1 in 100 downhill. Yeah, see, we are at 69 already for this 70-year-old train. Actually, 70 is probably a little bit generous. I'd say 60 years old. They started making them in the 50s, but they were carrying on making them for quite a while. So it's probably between 50 and 60 years old, to be fair. That main horn sound is a bit flaccid, isn't it? Yeah, you can't even hear it here. There's no mistake in that. The secondary horn. Okay, we will just coast from here. As predicted, lip hook is coming up. So the depth of the slope has reduced slightly. It's now 1 in 123. And was that a 377 Southern Electro Star I saw? You never get that on this line. From Portsmouth, they would go from Havant. They would go onto the Brighton line and then go all the way to Brighton or beyond, or divert at Hove and go up to Victoria. And you'd see them again only at Clapham Junction, platform 13 and 14. Right. Go back up to notch 4 now. It's starting to flatten out a little bit. Right, here is lip hook. Fairly industrial area here, but the spar is off out in the sticks. I think lip hook and Liss is where we go from Surrey into Hampshire, so we will be seeing Liss very shortly. So I reckon we are in Hampshire. We're just about to cross into Hampshire, where we will stay for the rest of the journey. Right, let's see, once we get near 90 we can go to notch 2 and sort of maintain our speed. Nope, we are losing it quite quickly. Oh no, notch 3 we're alright. Oh no. We're going downhill, so there's a lot of friction on this train. And it is a little bit old and rusty. So yeah, we're on an absolutely perfectly flat gradient at the moment. Now we're about to go downhill as we head towards Liss. See, this is where you'll notice we are back at ground level for most of the rest of the journey. So, oh, I'm managing to speed again. Yeah, as I was talking about, going downhill. Oh, what's going on there? Yeah, so apart from when we go through between Petersfield, just after Petersfield, when we're going through the South Downs and it's all sort of big hills, it's level crossings rather than tunnels or viaducts. And we're still picking up speed, so that's 3 speeding incidences there. Really not doing that well. I blame it on the meds I'm on. They're quite weapons grade. Oh, sorry, we didn't get a little look at lists there. There's lists. Pretty small and insignificant. You start seeing the hills in the distance. Which are the South Downs. Right, it's 85 coming up. Well, we're alright, we won't bother increasing speed. Just a level crossing. Yep. I hate level crossings. As a car driver, if you've got a sort of real Jobsworth signalman, he'll put those gates down well before the train's anywhere near. And if there's 2 trains coming, and even if it's a like 3 or 4 minute gap between the 2, he'll keep those fucking gates down. As the queue of cars builds up and builds up. And I'll show you the worst one for that, because we will cross over it on this route. Right, Petersfield is coming up. That's our next stop. 1.5 miles, or just under. Another level crossing. At least so far we haven't had cars driving over them despite the gates being down, as they do on other route DLCs. Oh, actually, I don't know why I did that. Let's start slowing down. There's one here just before you get to the platform. Okay, this platform is long. Now this has a bridge and an underpass, Petersfield. So you've got multiple ways to cross the from one platform to the other. Right, as usual, we're going to have to go right up to the end where it tells us to stop, otherwise we won't get all the coaches on the platform. However, we are rapidly approaching that. That'll have to do. We've just got one that's slightly off at the back. So we're right here. Probably could have got it on. Yeah, you've literally got to go right up to the very edge. See that none of these doors are open. Let's have a look at the station itself. Yeah, I don't remember that looking like that when I was last there. I used to have to get off here a lot and get a rail replacement bus. Okay, it looks like I've missed the guard bell, so we will get underway. Okay, so we're in an 85. We will have to slow down to it's either 50 or 40 as we approach the Berriton Tunnel, which is quite a long tunnel that goes straight through the hill. There's a nice little pub above the tunnel. I can't remember the name. The Five Bells, I think. Right by a duck pond in Berriton. So it's not too far. We should have the industrial estate over here, where Whitman's Estee Lauder factory is. And my aunt, rest her soul, was one of the executives there at one point. That's the A3 there. We're going parallel to that. The A3 is quite a fascinating road. Like it goes right up to Portsmouth. A lot of it's called the old A3. Oh, we've got a speed reduction here. So let's come up for that now. And then as we go through the tunnel, it is 40. Yeah, the A3 goes, and bits of it are called the old A3. Goes right from the southern point in Portsmouth right up to Monument in London. And it just so happens that my brother lives about 10 minutes walk from the A3, and he lives down in sort of near Portsmouth, and I live about 2 minutes walk from the A3, and obviously I'm in South Central London. Oh, I should allow myself a bit more braking time here. I think we could though. As we approach the tunnel. Yeah, I think we'll be right on notch one, just backing off it once we get to 40. As soon as we get out of this tunnel, we're back to 70 again. So yeah, we are heading through one of the big hills in the South Downs at Berriton. Right, back in 70. So, the next station we will pass through is Rowland's Castle. It's still got that concrete bridge that I remember as a very young child. It is still there to go from one platform to the other. don't actually know where if there is a castle there or any remains of a castle. There probably is, but I've never seen it, and I've been there so many times. Right, our downhill. I have to do a bit of controlled braking here. There's our colleague in his class 444. Go through this industrial estate. Oh, we've got a 75 miles an hour speed increase. Okay. That concrete bridge, that's not the one I meant, but it's exactly the same as what we'll see at Rowlands Castle. Okay, the hill has sort of reduced a little bit, but we're still going to speed if we don't just put a little bit of braking on there and get it back down a couple of miles an hour. Oh, and we have a 90. So we're now going through a little country area called Finchdean. There's a nice little pub there. I don't know if it's still open. I know it closed during COVID, but there's a pub there called the George. It's very nice. Okay, so we're now in a 75. 90 for a little bit, and then it's 70 as we approach Rowlands Castle. Yeah, that's about right. So, I mean, I'm at a 75 limit at the moment. I'm not going to crank it up much until we get into the 90, and then I'll be braking pretty much straight after. So, the question you have to ask yourself is it worth it? Okay, so yeah, that's warning us that it's going to be 70 soon, so we'll do it a little bit. But again, it ain't really worthwhile. So it's under half a mile. We will be going through Rowlands Castle. So let's just do a very minimum braking. Keep the comfort levels quite smooth. And then it's 85. Yeah, here we go. There's that concrete bridge. Rowlands Castle. Now this is above ground level, so as you see, we went straight over a small viaduct. And to our right, there would have been the square, and there's a couple of nice pubs there as well. God, I keep mentioning pubs, don't I? But country pubs are nice. Okay, we are in an 85 zone. Our next station is Havant. We will definitely be stopping there, which is where we will meet trains coming from Victoria or Brighton. There's a junction just before we get to the platform. Now that used to be the only route through Havant, apart from the Hailing Billy to Hailing Island. So that's why even to this day they get priority over traffic coming from here, train traffic coming down this route. So if two of us are going to hit the junction at the same time, I will get the red signal, not them. And that's all fine, but they run on southern trains, which are notoriously delayed and unreliable. So you could be held up at a red signal near this junction because of a late running southern train that should already have gone through. I'll show you where that's. I think it's our next signal actually. Yeah, so you can see the houses there. Yeah, I think it's this signal coming up. Yeah, it's this signal here. This is where we get held up quite often. Right, so now we've gone through that signal, the track on the left will join, and that's the southern track to Brighton, Victoria, and maybe further along the south coast. And here we go, we've joined it, as you can see. There it is. So that takes you to Brighton. There's a southern train there. Should we see if that actually does go the correct route? Right, Havant's got a nice long platform. And I've braked too early. Let's have a quick look. That southern train's still there. Let's see if we can do this properly. There we go. Right, okay, so we're all right from the front. How are we at the back? Nope. They still don't open the doors. Let's see where it goes. Right, so this is going the correct way. It's going off to Brighton. Going down the left there. Ooh. Yeah, wow. The reason I wasn't expecting that is because we saw one of those electro stars on our main route where it had no place being. Okay. So we will be passing through two stations now. One is Bedhampton, which is just less than a mile up the track. Oh, it went from 20 to 40. So Bedhampton is one of the most irritating and annoying level crossings if you're a car driver, because you get trains to and from Waterloo and to and from Brighton. But if you're a pedestrian, it's fine because there's a metal bridge to cross. Is there, and yeah, this this station can only hold about 7 carriages. Right, we're in a 70 now, so let's crank that up. And then 85. There's Mill Road Bridge, which is great for skateboarding down because it's very smooth. Okay, so we are now going through an area called Farlington, and it's well popular with walkers and dog walkers because there's a big coastal marsh track there. And we will then shortly be hitting another major junction where straight on is for Portsmouth and right is for the Wessex Line route to Southampton. And then it joins us from Southampton not far along after that. So the bit in the middle is called the Rail Triangle, and they have a big industrial estate there called the Rail Triangle Estate. Right, we've got to slow to 60 in a sec. Okay, there's the first junction. That's off onto the Wessex Line. And it should be joining us about now. There it is. That's where it's rejoining us from Southampton. And we cross over into Portsea Island off that little bit of water there. I'm a bit zoomed in now and I've left it a bit late. Okay, so this is Hilsey. We are back up to 80. My school's playing fields are here, so this is how I used to get home after games on a Thursday afternoon. Just walk to Hilsey station and then get the old train from there. Right, so what do we got? So we will be stopping at the next stop, which is Fratton, and I imagine it will put us on platform 3, where it's very hard to see where the end of the platform is because it bends around to the right. And this driver cab is on the left hand side of the train. But what can you do, eh? Okay, so the area we're going through is called Stamshaw, stroke North End. It's not the nicest of neighbourhoods. We've got a 40 coming up. We don't need to brake for that just yet. The AWS is just letting us know it's there. Right, we won't brake too hard. He says, cranking the brakes up a bit. Okay, we might as well coast into Fratton Station. I don't know if that's supposed to be the Portsmouth Football Club floodlight, but they have more than one. But it is right there. You can see it from Fratton Station. Yeah, we are on platform 3. So we will be like Mr. Tickle and stretch our neck out. I mean, I don't mind us stopping here because you can never get out of the back at Fratton. It is a short platform. They do say the front 7 coaches. I've stopped a little bit short of where I should, but you know, at the end of the day, fuck everybody. Right, is the guard gonna do anything? Nope. Oh, yes, he is. Okay. Oh, we anticipated that. Okay, so this is where we probably will not exceed 40 miles an hour now. We haven't got a long way to go to our next stop, which is Portsmouth and Southsea. Although we do have some interesting gradients to deal with. So it's 25 here. So as we're nearly there, I'll pop that down to notch 1. Why am I being so conservative? And then we will be at 15 miles an hour. We do have a very sharp bend and a steep hill as we approach the platform. And it is yet another sort of bendy platform as well. So this is where you'd get off and get a bus to the Isle of Wight hovercraft. Whereas from Portsmouth Harbour you get the fast cat or the car ferry. There's a 377 Electro Star. Oh, should really be slowing down. So we've got a bit of a hill to climb and a bend to go around. But there's no mistaking that red roof and walls. That's been the same ever since I can remember. Yeah, and the train always squealed as it went round these bends, because they're quite sharp. Right, let's try and stop in the right place. There's been a hell of a lot of NPC trains, which is good. I don't have a problem with that at all. Right, I reckon that's about as good as we're going to get. In fact, it's too good. Look, the front doors are not opening. But the rear doors should be. But they're not there, or they could all be shut. But yeah, this is Portsmouth and Southsea Station. So our penultimate stop. That's the Lipstick Tower, which I mentioned they just copied and pasted into the Nine Elms area. Okay, that door actually did open and shut. Interesting. Right, we're still in a 15. So let's get underway. We can briefly get to 40. So our next stop is Portsmouth Harbour, where the train will terminate. All change, all change. Although there's nowhere else to go, unless you're getting on the hovercraft. The hovercraft, the fast cat. There's no point me giving it any more acceleration at all. Oh, look, we're in a 40. We're going to be in a 20 any second. There we go, we're in a 40, but we'll just take it to 20. And then we'll be back down to 15. So a lot of these big terminus stations is 15 because there's so many platforms, there's so many points to pass over and bends to make to get yourself on and off the correct platform. And going anything higher than 15 will, yeah, very likely derail you. Right, this is on a downhill, so we've got to watch our speed coming in. So we go down to 14 there. Let's, yeah, we're accelerating quite quickly there. So we're at that sort of rock and a hard place where, in the early braking will decelerate us, and no braking and no throttle will accelerate us. Right, yeah, we know. Right, there's HMAS Warrior there. And a class 444. Yeah. And coming in here, the train's notoriously squeaked and screeched, and it's obviously the wheels rubbing on the rails and a sharp bend. Okay, but we are finally here. As I pointed out in a previous video, look, they've even got all the sewage and the rubbish dumped onto the track there. Welcome to Portsmouth. Here's what to expect. Okay, that's fairly close to the buffers, but I think it's enough that we've got the entire train on. So yeah, the front doors are opening, but the rear doors are not. How close were we to the buffers? Oh, we had a bit of... When you're in that train, it seems closer than it is, but... Okay, I'll just have to remember that for next time. Here's Portsmouth Harbour. Fast Cat terminal is here. This is Gosports. That's probably because this is going back a few years. That's Haslar Hospital, where I had emergency, well not emergency, procedure there, a medical procedure there. I was there for 3 days. Very nice. There's the Spinnaker Tower and Gunwharf Quays shopping centre. There's the old school pubs, the Still and West. And what's the other one? I can't remember. I haven't been there for a while. But they're good. You sit outside there having a drink or something to eat, watch the Isle of Wight ferries go in and out. Yes, so we are at the end of the scenario. We've gone from London to Portsmouth on the fast service in the class 412 commuter configuration with 12 carriages. And yeah, that was not a bad run. Speedings were 100% my fault, all of them. I think it was 3 or 4. I did get a phone call right in the middle of it. Oh, 3 times. I'll take that because, like Chelsea FC, I don't know what a clean sheet is. Right. Yeah, good run that. And enjoyable. And I actually know all about where I'm going. Well, a lot of about where I'm going. So, yeah. Okay, so we will wrap the video up here. And we will see you on the next one.